It's time for Southern Fried Baseball, presented by College Baseball Central. Hosted by Jake McKeever as he talks everything SEC baseball and more.
Welcome back, College Baseball Central fans. Back here again, Jake and Andrew. We haven't showered. We haven't done anything. We're just talking some college baseball this morning.
Yeah, we're pretty smelly. We've been studying all of our notes, just getting ready for some good old-fashioned conference tournaments coming up.
That is correct. If you do recall, conference play kicked off last weekend with the Patriot League. They do two series. The winners both play this weekend. We will talk about that in a little bit. Another one kicking off, and we will have a winner this weekend, the Ivy League, as well as the Southland is getting underway as they're going at it across 2 weekends as well. We'll talk about that format here in a little bit. Andrew, let's go ahead and jump into it. The Ivy League is the easiest of, I would say, every single conference tournament to follow. It's 4 teams. 1 plays 4, 2 plays 3. It's a basic regional format.
Yeah.
The Yale Bulldogs, red hot, if you will, steal victory from the clutches of Columbia, who was declared winners 2 weeks ago, according to them. They lose out on the tiebreaker to Yale, who is absolutely red hot. They will take on the Harvard Crimson, who also backdoored into the tournament, if you will, as they had a highly contested one with Princeton and Dartmouth for that final spot. Columbia and Penn will renew their rivalry, and it's an exciting one. Let's go ahead and start with that one with Yale. Tell us all about the Yale Bulldogs, if you will.
Well, Yale is led by their freshman, just stud on the mound, Jack Oman. He comes in, he's 8-0, 1.08 ERA, and it's not like the Ivy League, like he hasn't been facing good competition in the Ivy League. He's shut down like some pretty good mid-major lineups too. He has pitched very well against Rice this year. He's gotten 78 strikeouts in a freshman year. You don't see a lot of freshman aces, but Yale has that right now. Following him up in the bullpen, you got guys like Tate Evans, Colton Shaw, and Daniel Cohen, who have both followed up with ERAs under 4. Just reliable arms for Coach Brian Ham, who has just really turned around this Yale program. Like we've mentioned, it's been programs like Columbia, Penn, who have really been in the forefront of this conference, but Yale is leading the charge now.
Yeah, Yale is a very, very proud program. Mike actually went up to their baseball stadium last year, and he said it was one of the best hidden gems. Yale Field, like I said, it's been a really fantastic year for Brian Ham. They have wins over Rice, Columbia, Iona, Dartmouth. They dominated the Ivy, if you will, at 16-5. They're winners of 12 straight. I think the thing that really jumps out to me again is just how hot this Yale team is. Last loss for them was that Penn game back on the 29th of April. Last series loss, if you will, was Cornell back on March 26th. They really have righted the ship. And again, they're well on their way to their first College World Series appearance since 2017. Tournament appearance. They have made the College World Series twice. It's a very proud program. They'll be taking on a Harvard Crimson team that kind of backdoored their way in, if they will. They sit at 9-12 in the Ivy League. They finished a game up on Dartmouth and Princeton, as we mentioned. What's Harvard's secret to success to knock off this Yale team?
Callan Feng. Callan Feng, he was the Ivy League pitcher of the year last year. He had a little bumpy season this year, but he's still a really reliable and good arm for this Harvard Crimson team. I think if Callan Feng goes up there, I do expect it to be Callan Feng against Jack Oman game 1. I think it's going to be a bunch of zeros, trading back and forth, and then Harvard finding a way, being aggressive on the bases with guys like Matt Gabberty, he leads their team with 19 stolen bases. When you got guys like George Cooper and Matt Gabberty, that can put pressure on a pitcher. They force teams to make mistakes, and that's how Harvard has really ended up in this situation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very talented Harvard team. I think it's a veteran-led Harvard team, as like you mentioned, Gabberty and Cooper are both seniors. Gio Castani is another one. I think that's a really fantastic arm. Really fantastic bat. I will say that kind of the Achilles heel of this Harvard team is that they do love to strike out, which isn't the best matchup against Oman from Yale. But again, I think it's going to be an exciting one. They love to hit. They're a doubles heavy team, if you will. And again, they used to run the Ivy League for a little bit. I mean, this is another kind of proud Ivy League program.
Yeah, Harvard. I mean, Harvard's a generic, just like, don't want to use the word blue blood for an Ivy League, but like they are a blue blood of the Ivy League. That like you look at all their sports, they are used to running nearly every sport, it feels like, in the Ivy League.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, they've been to Omaha 4 times. They last made the tournament in 2019. They're the oldest baseball program in the country, as their first team was formed in 1862. It's a really talented Harvard team, like you said. Fang at that top of the order. Truman Pauly is another one to really kind of watch. The sophomore, he's taken a huge stride step forward. He's their innings leader. Harvard is really led at the top by those 2 horses, and I think that they're going to need a ton of innings for them. And really in a tournament, that's really all that you want is some guy that can get you as many innings as they can.
Yeah, you can save as many arms as you can for those last 2 games. You're in a good spot.
Prediction time before we move on to Columbia and Penn. I have Yale taking game 1. Is that who you have?
Yeah, I have Yale taking game 1. I trust Jack Omen a little too much as a freshman right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's fantastic. He's probably the best mid-major pitcher in the country. It's hard to get those Ivy League kids to leave before they get degrees. I'm sure a ton of SEC teams would be happy to have him welcome in their staff. I would say that I have, like you said, Yale taking that one. Moving on to the 2 seed, they will take on the Penn Quakers. They sit at 16-5 in conference, but they do lose the tiebreaker over Yale. They popped champagne after that Penn one. They have series win it and now red hot San Diego. They swept Brown. They swept Dartmouth. Brett Moretti, I think, is in his 19th season. He was at Ivy League Coach of the Year last year. I think either him or the other coach at Yale are going to win them. What's the secret that has allowed Columbia to have the season that they've had?
Just their bats. Their bats have been phenomenal all year. Led by Sam Miller and Cole Fellows. I mean, you got guys like those hitting for power, hitting for just average. They're finding gaps, filling them up, and they're just dominating any pitching staff they're seeing in Ivy League play.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Miller and Fellows, they have 80 RBIs between them. Another one, too, is Griffin Palfrey down there playing third base. Again, this is another one of those teams that's a very, very old one. Obviously, they're going to have some of those juniors that come back. But again, a talented team that's definitely hitter first. From a pitching rotation, it's really kind of been 3 guys. It's been Sheets, it's been Edwards, and it's been Thomas Santana, the junior. They've been good enough, but definitely not elite. Like I said, the batting average against for Sheets, 314. Jagger Edwards, 292. Thomas Santana at 268. So they are kind of susceptible. But the flip side of that is they can win some of these games, the game 3, the game 4, when your pitching is down.
Yeah, I mean, I trust this Columbia team a lot. I think they should have been the top seed. I think they've kind of staggered in some games that they've lost a handle of. But I really like the way that Brett Moretti has like really done with this program. I mean, we mentioned it. They've produced guys like Hayden Schott that have just turn into dogs at SEC schools, and that's what I see from this Columbia team.
Yeah, they are. Columbia did beat Penn about a month ago, I believe. They took 2 of 3 from them. It was a doubleheader, as all Ivies are doubleheaders. I really like Columbia, but for Penn, this is another very, very proud program that's produced a ton of Power 5 guys the past few years. Jackson Appel, who's with the White Sox, Eduardo Malinowski, who played at Virginia Tech, Ben Miller, who's at Duke. And again, Jared Petrovsky at the top of that order is really, really talented. He's hitting 346, really can bang the ball all over the yard. Not really a power hitting, Penn team, but it's a one that really kind of predicates themselves on those doubles.
Yeah, I mean, you look at Ivy League schools, you're not going to see a lot of pop all over the ballpark. You're going to see guys that play the game the right way. They try and be scrappy. They're not going to be hitting a lot of home runs. It's going to be a lot of doubles, singles, a lot of stolen bases, a lot of bunts. It's a lot of scrappy, like nerd kind of baseball, if you can say. A
lot of walks too. Nick
Yeah.
Spavetta is another one that you can kind of headline to as well. Ernie Echeverria, the freshman behind the plate, he's been tremendous as he's kind of started to come into his own. He didn't really start a ton of games, but he's really found his spot in that lineup. And then Ryan Taylor is just an absolute speedster too for this Penn team as well. This is another one where they really don't pitch, like Yale has, where they have that frontline guy. Yeah. Obviously, they've had a few guys that they've really kind of cycled in and out. Will Tobin, Noah Melkane, Josh Kantz has started some games for him. Aiden Van Zubin, the freshman, has really kind of worked into his own. Dude, this is going to be an absolute shootout in game one.
Yes, it's going to be offense until someone can find a way to put up a 0.
Yeah, it's been a fantastic, fantastic one. It's pick time again. We talked through all 4 of these teams. I'm going with Columbia again.
Columbia again? You went with Penn the first time, buddy. I'm going Columbia. I'm going Columbia.
Columbia, so that leaves us Yale and Columbia in that winner's bracket game. I'm going with Yale. Who are you going with?
I'm going to go with Columbia. I said it before. I thought that Columbia should have been the 1 seed. I really like the Columbia team. I like the way they swing it. Obviously, Jack Oman might not be available for that game to throw, but I really like the Columbia offense to put up some damage against that Yale bullpen.
Yeah, and then I would assume that both of us have Harvard being the first team eliminated.
Yes.
Second team eliminated, do you have Yale or Penn?
Penn.
I have Columbia dropping. So I have Yale versus Penn in the final. I think that Yale takes it.
I think Columbia finds a way to win it all.
So I have Yale. You will have Columbia. Again, we'll have to see who's more right. We'll move on to the next one, if you will. Another fantastic one that's kind of starting itself out. The Southland Conference is going to a new format. They are doing 2 pods of 4 with Southeastern hosting the Hammond bracket that has Southeastern, Northwestern State, McNeese, and UNO respectively, while Edinburgh will host UTRGV, obviously be the host. Lamar is the 3 seed, Houston Christian as a 6 seed, Texas A&M Corpus Christi as a 7 seed. We'll start out in that Hammond bracket. Obviously, Brennan Struprich has been the guy for Southeastern. He's going to be pitching at an SEC school very, very soon. Is there anybody that you think gives Southeastern worry in that side of the bracket?
I think UNO does, because UNO did get to Brennan Struprich in his first time against them this year. UNO they took that game against Southeastern game 1 like 10-4, I think. Then Southeastern came and took the last 2 games. But I really like UNO to maybe give Southeastern some hissy fits. I've talked to some coaches in the Southland this year that have just described to me that like UNO does, like their record. I've watched UNO too. Their record doesn't really project who they are. I think that they are a very good team still, besides what their conference record says and besides what their record actually says. I think they can maybe sneak in a win against Southeastern to start this tournament off.
I would have to agree with that. Of all of the kind of quote-unquote upsets, I think that this is the one that's going to happen. UNO, again, has the Pelican Cup. They beat Boston College. They were fighting for their tournament lives between Nichols last weekend and A&M Corpus Christi. So they're kind of coming in a little bit hotter than some of these other teams. Ira Austin, I think, is a bona fide ace at the top of that rotation. 28 Ks in just 26 innings pitched. Bryce Callaway is another one that's been really, really fantastic. But I think for me, I really like Northwestern State. I mean, this is a team that, a little over a month ago seemed dead. That, they have this big scandal that's kind of hanging over them that is still pending. But Coach Bertrand has really kind of done a good job igniting this Demon team.
Yeah, I mean, I've gotten to watch this Northwestern State team play as well, and I wasn't impressed at first, and I started watching more and more of their games, and they've just really put it together. Reese Limpoma, like, he's been hitting very well. You got guys like Braden Benton, Rocco Gump, like those guys, like they can hit the ball very well. Pitching-wise, tomorrow they'll probably be throwing – I really hope they're throwing a Carter White tomorrow. That's the game that I'll be – or today as we're recording this. I'm really excited to see Carter White throw for Northwestern State. He's a very good lefty. Coach Bertrand has been very fortunate to have a guy like Carter White in the top of his rotation.
Yeah, Carter White's really good. Since I said like that thing when that came out, that report that I reported on, so it feels kind of weird talking about it. They have a series victory over Lamar. They have a run roll victory over LSU. We're still waiting to see what the NCAA does with that. But, if Northwestern State gets hot, it'll be really hard to kind of keep them out. McNeese sits as the 5 seed. I don't know what to make of this McNeese team. At times, they feel like the number 1 team in the Southland, and Justin Hill has them absolutely rolling. And then at other times, this team just forgets how to play baseball.
Yeah, I mean, this McNeese team, we were talking about this McNeese team hosting regional or hosting the Southland tournament a couple weeks ago. Then
we were talking about them being an at-large team at one point.
Yeah, we were talking about them they were receiving votes at one point, I think. It's been a little disappointing. The pitching staff has kind of come back to earth a little, but I'm still very confident in this McNeese team. They have guys like Alexis Greville and Sergio Lopez that round out this rotation for them. And then
it's a really high quality coaching that Justin Hill's done at McNeese. It's a very well coached team. I think that's the issue, is it's Justin Hill maximizing his roster, and sometimes it plays like the roster that I think it actually is. Sergio Lopez out of the bullpen, I think, is another one. I think if needed, he can come out and start a game. But like you said, Easton now out of that one. Prediction time, if you will. Who is the first team that gets eliminated out of this bracket?
I think the first team to get eliminated out of this bracket is the Northwestern State Demons.
Interesting. I have McNeese being the first team eliminated. Who's the second team eliminated?
I have UNO getting eliminated then.
I have UNO too as well. So you have McNeese and Southeastern. I have McNeese and Northwestern State. Who do you have?
I have Southeastern.
I have Northwestern State. I think that they have a good chip on their shoulder. So give me Northwestern State to come out of that side of that bracket. In the Edinburgh bracket, like we mentioned, UTRGV is the 2 seed. It's their first year in the Southland, and the Vaqueros have found themselves as near the top of the conference. They had a chance to kind of host 33-16. They have wins over DBU. I know this is kind of hard to believe because this is all the way back in February. They did beat Lamar. It's the worst distance travel in the Southland for anybody, and they're hosting a regional. What's the secret to UTRGV's success this year?
Player of the year, Armani Raygoza. He has been phenomenal. If you look at his stats from last year to this year, he has nearly just expanded on everything. Last year he had 232. This year he's hitting 383. He's hit 15 bombs, 54 RBIs. He rightfully deserves the Southland Player of the Year award.
No, he doesn't.
You guys, Isaac Lopez. You got pitching. Pitching's been very solid for them as well. But I do expect their bats to just go off for them. I think.
Yeah, I expect that too. They feel like the team that if they get into a shootout, they can hit the best.
Yeah.
I should say Armani Raygoza should have been the hitter of the year, not the player of the year, because he's a DH. I thought that was a little bit odd.
Yeah, I thought that was weird too. I was saying that to myself when I was writing our write-up on the Southland Awards. I was disappointed not to see Damian Ruiz, who we'll talk about in a minute. I thought he was going to get Player of the Year, but I understand why Ruiz got Hitter of the Year. So.
Yeah, it was a little bit weird one. Victor Loa has been an ace for them. Anthony Tejada is another guy that really kind of headlines it. It's a high quality team. They will take on the A&M Corpus Christi Islanders. They come into the Southland at 20 in 2019. It is Scott Malone's first year at the head. Oh, wait, no, it's his 18th year. I got them confused with Houston Christian. They've never made the championship of a regional in all of his 18 years. They do have wins over UCLA, Washington State, and Rice. It's a tall ask because this is, I think, a region of death. What chance do you give A&M Corpus Christi to win this regional?
I would say I'd give them the 25%. I think their bats can get hot. This isn't a team that is known for hitting the ball out of the ballpark. If they're going to win it by throwing strikes and by playing small ball, by executing bunts, by stealing bases. I don't think they they'll hit a lot of home runs. I don't think they're gonna like run rule a game surprisingly and surprising everyone. But I think that if you get guys like Austin Russell and Jackson Smith going, they can sneak a game in, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh God, we got to beat Texas A&M Corpus Christi twice in the championship bracket to win this.
I don't know if they're going to have the pitching. That's the one that really kind of worries me. Zach Garcia's been good at times. David Dean's been good at times. Those are two guys that just eat innings for them. I just don't think they have the pitching to get through it.
Yeah, I agree.
Moving on to the other side of the bracket on this side, the Lamar Cardinals and the Houston Christian Huskies for the fourth time in 4 games will play each other. At one time, Houston Christian had a chance to kind of get in the hosting conversation. Obviously, that didn't really pan out. They have victories over McNeese and RGV. It is Clay Vanderland's first season after taking over for Lance Berkman. He was an assistant, and they have immediately flipped a switch. Rhett Hendricks and Parker Edwards have been big reasons for that. It's been a completely overhauled roster for Houston Christian. They've lost 3 straight to Lamar. I kind of think the Huskies can come out and beat them.
I think they can too, but I'm not that confident in their pitching. We'll talk about Lamar's offense in a minute, but I don't think their pitching can hold down this Lamar lineup.
It's a really talented Lamar lineup. It would be a very tall ask if anybody's going to do it. I think Nick Forenza is going to have a really high-quality outing. But again, we'll kind of save that more for picks. Moving on to the 2-seed Lamar Cardinals. They sit at 20-10. Lamar, again, is a 40-win team in the Southland. They have victories over Louisiana Tech. Tulane, it's Will Davis's 9th season. They're back-to-back 40-win squads. This feels like Will Davis's best team.
Yeah, it is. I think he's talked his way into maybe some better coaching jobs. And I'm not saying Lamar's a bad coaching job, but I think the way and the job that Will Davis has done this year, I think he's maybe earned himself a job at a Power 4 school, maybe even a school that might be losing their coach for another Power 4 opportunity. I really like the way that this Lamar team has lined up this year.
They can just flat out hit. Like you mentioned, Damian Ruiz, Zane Smith at shortstop hitting 323. Tab Tracy is a really strong kid. You can really kind of pepper it all over the yard. And then Matt Ryan, he's a second-team All-Southland at second base. Lamar, it's weird because they have the best pitcher in this side of the bracket, but they're also the best hitting team. Riley Hunsaker on Friday against Houston Christian. You feel really, really good about that one as he's been, the second best pitcher in the Southland as he was, first team all Southland selection. But it's just so hard to beat a team 4 times.
Yeah, I'm really confident in this Lamar team taking care of Houston Christian, just up and down this lineup. I got to watch Lamar the beginning of the season against Tulane, but I was very impressed with guys like Damian Ruiz. The reason he was chosen for the Hitter of the Year award, he broke records in runs scored, one of the longest on-base streaks in Lamar history.
It is the longest.
It is the longest.
Yeah, let me pull it up here.
He had a
73 school record of 73 runs scored in a single season.
Yeah.
Jesus, this kid just has so many records.
Yeah. All this in his first year here, where he transferred from Houston Christian.
Yes, and Riley's from A&M Corpus.
Yes, but I don't think Riley will have to throw against A&M Corpus, hopefully.
No, obviously not. It's prediction time. Who do you have getting bounced first in this regional?
I think Corpus Christi, sadly.
I think Corpus too as well. I have Houston Christian dropping. Actually, hot take. I think Lamar loses the first game. I think that they come in flat.
I wish we had pitching matchups for this.
It's going to be Riley. Riley's going to throw. But I'll say this. I think Lamar sleepwalks through this first game and Houston Christian beats them for the first time. I don't see how you can run rule a team twice and then immediately turn around and play them again in a tournament that matters.
Yeah, it's
I
tough.
think, but caveat, I think Lamar will roll through the losers bracket.
Yeah, I could see that, but
I have them. So I have Houston Christian winning game 1. Lamar obviously beating Corpus in game 2 in that losers bracket. I think Houston Christian loses to RGV. Lamar beats him the second time. And then I have Lamar taking both against UTRGV.
I have Lamar winning through it. I don't think Lamar drops it. I'm a big fan of Riley Hunsaker. I really like Peyton Harvard, the way he has stepped up.
Peyton Havard.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that stinks. Sorry to Peyton then. I really like Peyton. I really like the job that Will Davis has done. I really like his staff. I really like the way that this team has come together. Zane Spin as well. That's just such a cool name to say. And he
From
wears
a shortstop too, because he spins around a lot.
And he wears 99, which is awesome because you don't see shortstops wearing 99. I think Lamar will end up going to Hammond next week to play Southeastern. That's my prediction. Lamar.
We will have to get these predictions over to our graphics guy to get them taken care of.
Yes.
There's still one more. The Patriot League, again, Holy Cross as the top seed. They're hosting in Worcester. They beat Lehigh 10-0, 7-2, 19-9. They did drop that one 7-2. Dominant victory. They take on the just dancers of death, if you will. The Army Knights, like you said, they are. Was it 12-0 in their last 12 elimination games in Patriot League play?
Yes.
And what do? They dropped game 1 on Saturday to Navy, and literally they did this exact same thing last year to Navy. They won the doubleheader sweep 13-2 and 6-5.
And I don't know how difficult it is to play, like, especially in Army Navy. I don't know how difficult it is to play because it's not neutral site like in a football. They played this at Navy.
Yes.
Like, that's the even more crazier thing. You go into your sworn enemies place and just kick their butts. I mean, the second game did go into extras, and that was a very fun game to watch as I was watching LSU Arkansas. I did have Jack DeLongchamp little sneaking over into my laptops, like, what you watching there, buddy? I'm like, yeah, I'm just watching Army and Navy here. Like, I think this game might be better than the 9th inning of this one right now.
Big shout out to Justin Lehman throwing 7 innings, 142 pitches. Yes. And then he turns around and bats in the 4-hole and goes 3 for 3 in game 2.
Yes, did win. He won the John Oldroyd, or how do you say it? The John Oldroyd two-way player of the week award last week. He's just been phenomenal for Army. Like, I'm so excited to watch him throw. He'll probably throw game 1 this weekend.
He threw 142 pitches on Sunday.
I mean, a couple bands, he's good. It'll be either Justin or Andrew Berg getting the nod for them. But I mean, I like this Army team is just like, don't say die, don't say never. Never say never.
It is the ultimate embodiment, I think, of the West Point is this Army baseball team. They don't have that much talent compared to some of the other teams that they play. They are backs against the wall, and you send out Justin Lehman, and he absolutely shoves in every sense of the word. It's been a fun team to watch. I've actually watched this Army team a ton. But it's a tall ask to go in and play Holy Cross. Holy Cross won the Patriot League outright at 17-8. They did beat Army in the 4 games that they played. They split. This will be another one at Worcester, if you will. This Holy Cross team can flat out rake. It's going to be a tall ask for this Army team. Yeah,
led by guys like Jimmy Kang, who just like Jimmy Kang, Chris Ballergen. I mean, you got guys hitting 300, 370, 322.
Gianni Royer's a really fantastic stud sophomore for him. He's stolen 24 bases for him. CJ Egri is stolen 32 bases. They flat out fly.
Yes.
I mean, you just look up and down this lineup. It's just guys hitting over 300, guys hitting over 300, guys hitting over 300.
120 stolen bases for reference, I looked at like majority of the teams in the Southland and the Ivy League when I was doing their previews. No one had, I think, more than 60. That's crazy.
It's just insane, by the way. I do want to point out, too, that, Danny McAlara, Jaden Wywonda, Derek Voles, these guys don't walk a ton of people. And they also have really, really low batting averages against Mark Aloha at 218, Jaden Wywonda at 233, Derek Voles at 174. They just don't walk anybody.
Yeah.
Sean Scallan has started a few games for them. He's kind of had a little bit of the walk bug. But again, this is a staff that loves to pound the zone.
Yeah, I mean that's what you kind of get from teams in the Patriot League. The Patriot League, I mean, a couple of years ago, when I was like still playing college ball or in my younger years, these were like teams in the Patriot League, like Holy Cross, Lehigh, like this was a pitching conference, and I think it still is. Holy Cross is still living and dying by pitching, and like the one way they will win this series is if they can limit their mistakes, if they don't walk people, they just continue to pound the zone, they throw strikes, and they steal. They steal against Army. They'll be fine.
Yeah. Pick time, as always. Is it un-American to pick against the Troops?
I know. I'm like, this is tough because I think Army can. I mean, I think it's perfect that they split in the regular season too, so fans are kind of like, "Ooh, wow, this is a tough one."
Intrigue. But here's the part that's weird, because it's un-American to pick against the Troops, right?
Yeah.
But it also feels un-American to pick the team that's won the division the last 7 years.
Yeah, it might not be fun to pick. You always want to pick the underdog. I don't think Holy Cross is the underdog necessarily.
I think Army's the underdog.
Yeah. I think we're very fortunate to probably get the two best teams in the Patriot League to face off against each other. I'm gonna go Holy Cross.
I'm gonna go Army.
I'm gonna go Army off.
Andrew, it was fun to kind of deep dive these smaller conferences, as you will. We will be back again to preview the Southland Championship Series, as well as some of those under-the-radar mid-major ones. I can't promise that it's going to be as detailed as these were, as Andrew and I really dug deep into finding these three conferences, but we will give you picks for every single conference tournament. We will also be going against a new challenger, Andrew. I don't know if I've told you this. AI. We're going to see if we can beat ChatGPT with our picks. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. Again, all these games will be kicking off. We will have the schedules posted for you, quote tweeted with this video. So thanks, everybody, for tuning in, and see you out there in Southland play.